YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage back, and I'm going to have a third battle against the same guy that I have been playing against in the last two matches. This time he's going to play as Parthia, and he counterpicked Parthia to my Egypt. So, interesting counterpicked Parthia against Egypt, but it makes sense. Parthia's got a range of interesting tools, and you can see he brings a main block of swordsmen. His general is in a horse archer unit along with two other mercenaries. He brings some fast lancer cav, and then he's got some heavy melee cav, as well as a unit of Indian elephants. I've brought basically, well, you know what, so I expected horse archers again with Parthia, which he brought. So I brought a whole bunch of Egyptian slingers hoping to cut down horse archers. I did not bring spearmen or pikemen. I brought thorax swords because they're a fairly stable unit all around. I have my own unit of elephants, 2 Ptolemaic cav, 2 citizen cav, and then I have 1 light cav that's kind of hidden here in the woods, and what I want to do is wrap it around and hopefully get into a good spot to go after his skirmishers in the backfield. So I'm going to try and come around mostly unseen from around this hill. He'll see me eventually, but again, it's hopefully going to be a nuisance that I can use against him. I pull up and take these woods, thinking, hey, this defensive position here will be good. Parthia is going to have to rely on missiles, probably. My thorax swords can take their Parthian swordsmen. My biggest concern right now is his elephants, because for some stupid reason, I didn't even remember that Parthia could bring elephants, and his are better than my own. So slingers can't counter elephants. My infantry can't counter the elephants. I pretty much got nothing to counter his elephants, which is bad, because these are Indian war elephants. They're strong. So my opponent has a big advantage there. He's got, looks like 2 mercenary peltists with his swordsman. The rest of his cav is just hidden in the woods for the moment. They'll pop out here in a second. You can see my light horseman over here working its way up this gully to the top of the hill. So, yeah. And once they get up here, they'll have a clean line of sight on anything of his that's in the valley. So this also works as good scouting. Ooh, very scenic. So yeah, here comes a big bunch of his cav. He's got 2 noble blood cav moving forward with a mercenary Sarmatian lancer. I can't hope to counter his cavalry, because all I have is a citizen and the Ptolemaic. My Ptolemaic cav would do fine, but the citizen cav will not. His men are getting some sling stones thrown at them. Won't be a big deal, though. They're in the woods. It's going to minimize their impact. Slingers aren't particularly effective against heavy cav anyway. But I'm going to let my guys fire. I'll take whatever hit point damage I can get against this cav. You can see my opponent kind of slowly moving in, sizing me up here. I think he's got a pretty advantageous situation. Now watch this, though. So right now my elephants, let's see, my elephants are down here on this flank. He brings his horse archers in on the flank with my elephants, and he's already got flaming missiles turned on, so I know what his plan is. So immediately I'm going to move my elephants away from his horse archers. The biggest mistake that I made right here was not repositioning some of these slingers to fire at his horse archers. I'm just giving his horse archers run in the field right here. I shouldn't do that. And when I look back on it, it's kind of frustrating. I got 6 slingers firing into heavily armored units up here. It's like, what was the point of that? I mean, that's not going to do you any good. They should be over here firing at his horse archers. That's what you brought them to use against. There's a few shots pouring in against his horse archers, but not enough. And I start moving my elephants to this flank, and let's see what I use them for. So again, remember, I have nothing to stop his own elephants. Slingers can help chip away at their hit points, but they're definitely not going to be a quick stop. I'm not worried about the battle up front. My thorax swords should beat his Parthian swordsmen, hands down. What I'm worried about is morale effects and flanking. And check it out, he's already got a Sarmatian lancer with a wide open goal here. He just hasn't taken care of it yet. He's got another Sarmatian lancer on this side that's getting around my flank, so I get tempted into warding it off with my elephants, but let's be honest, think about what I'm doing here. I'm charging an African war elephant after a mercenary Sarmatian lancer. What's the point? It's not like one of their charge would probably really quickly turn this fight over. They'd have to get through my slingers first, which would take him a second. And again, slingers not working on his horse archers. Though I did break up his horse archers with my light cav, and I'm getting some kills on his general and chasing the others away. So temporarily I get reprieve from his horse archers. And I'm actually doing pretty well versus his cavalry for the moment. This is the problem. My own elephants should have been right here to intercept his elephants, because what my opponent's going for here is a quick scare knockout, and he's going to get it. Look at this. This unit, you're going to pop it up here, combat even, attacked in the rear. These few noble blood cav got him in the rear at the same time the elephants charge, plus the fear effect. These guys are going to go by really fast. And then that fear effect is just going to start trickling right down the line of my men, and you can see it doing this. So my elephants were in the wrong position, chasing a crappy Lancer cav that really wouldn't have been able to do much. Should have focused my elephants on his. Would his elephants have beat mine? Sure, they would have beat me eventually. But at least it would have given my Kais time to tank out the fight against his swordsman, and hopefully turn some of these cav fights, which my guys are doing very well in. So I mean, you look at these cav fights over here, my guys are doing just fine. His Sarmatian Lancers are taking out my Slingers, big deal. The Slingers aren't going to really turn the tide of this fight anyway, and you can see that his Parthian swordsmen doing alright where they're doubled up, and right here, yeah, doing okay too. I let him get a charge, which I probably shouldn't have done. I should have taken his swordsman a little more seriously, but I mean, look at that. His elephants are just going to wrap me up. All there is to it. So I'm going to put it into play and let you watch this happen. He is throwing javelins towards his own elephants, which is not real smart. He probably should change that. I try and break a Ptolemaic cav free to get after his skirmishers, and I'm trying to get them in so they'll stabilize. They finally do. And then my elephants are up here mopping up some of his noble blood calves. So I still have a few units left, but my infantry line routed, and most of them shattered. And even if they don't shatter, there's Sarmatian Lancers back here mopping up the stragglers. So my opponent does a great job of just kind of getting like an instant break down my line right there. And it was an excellent job on his part. His elephants are now moving this direction, and I've got my own elephants right behind him. I see that I have a small pocket of men left here, and I want to charge my elephants down and see if I can just get lucky and cause a chain rout of a lot of his swordsmen. If I can, I don't know that it means I have a chance, but at least it's better than nothing, because all of my swordsmen shattered. He uses his own elephants to stop mine, and see how they kind of stop each other? Again, just even getting my men to stop his guys for a second would have been a huge win. And I do get my elephants into the back of his men. I'm going to get them a few kills, but he's got horse archers and other units nearby that I can no longer deal with. And my elephants, it's only a matter of time before they go down. So I'll get into the rear of his infantry, I'll cause some damage, I'll get some kills, but my opponent really won that fight the instant that I did not have a way to oppose his, the way that I didn't have a way to oppose his elephants over here. So I think I made a good move by taking my elephants away from his horse archers. I made poor moves by not getting my slingers focused on his horse archers, and I should have used my light cav rather than going after his horse archers. I should have taken my light cav after his peltist. That way they couldn't have helped affect the infantry fight. Would I have won? I don't know. My opponent still had a lot of cav behind me. But I think that it would have gone better for me, obviously, to have stopped his elephants with my own, and then, like I said, make some of those other moves. My light cav could have gone after his peltist, and potentially rear charged some of his swordsmen too, because they were kind of unopposed at that particular time. And his horse archers were kind of out of position because my elephants had moved to the opposite side of the battle. He was using flaming arrows, though, which helped him. Whether he meant it on purpose, I know he was after my general with the flaming arrows, but it helps him with the infantry, too, because flaming arrows have that big morale drop effect. So, really well played by my opponent there. He smashed me in that one, just smashed me. And that's how quick it can happen when you let one of your flanks get open, and especially to elephants. My elephants even got more kills than his, but again, he started getting that morale effect. And once that morale effect hits, it's just going to roll up like a disease, man. It spreads fast. And you have to be able to put a stop to it before it starts is kind of the problem. And yeah, that's just kind of the way it works. But anyway, great game to my opponent. Hope you all enjoyed this one. I know I did. And I will be back with more online action soon. HeirofCarthage signing off.